This brief tutorial is going to show you how to create widgets in iBooks that you can use in your MIOPB personalized copies. Going through this particular tutorial, we're going to assume that you're going to be using a Macintosh computer with iBooks Author. There's a separate tutorial on how to do this in InDesign for both PC and Macintosh users. So if you're not using iBooks Author, you're going to want to close this one down and go to that one. We also recommend that you have a photo editing tool such as Snagit at your disposal, and that you either have the software Tumult-Hype or an account at bookery.com. The account at bookery.com is free. This tutorial is broken down into 3 steps. First, we're going to ask you, what do you want this widget to do in the design phase? Then, you'll actually set out to actually create your widget. And finally, we'll show you how to drag and drop the final product into iBooks. Step 1 is the design phase. It's relatively simple to do, and you don't need any special software to do this. Simply sit down and consider exactly what it is that you want your students to do in this widget. Maybe you want them to complete a chart by dragging and dropping information into it. Perhaps there's a fantastic YouTube video you want to include. Or maybe you want to link out to a Google Doc that you want students to complete. Or it's possible that there may be a website you want them to go to learn more information. Whatever the case may be, we recommend taking out pen, paper, and designing exactly what you want your widget to do before you move on to step 2. Step 2 is where you will actually make your widget. The easiest way to make a widget is to go to bookery.com and use some of their predefined, easy to use, easy to create widgets. All you need to do is either log in or sign up for free, and then you'll be able to get started actually building the widget that you want. While this tutorial won't go into how to create every single widget that's available at bookery.com, I've already created some videos for a separate project that showcase some of the most common ones that you might want to think about including. To get a sense of what sorts of things you can do, you can click here to see their widget library and see the different types of things that they support. Things including guess the word before and after, web browser, charts, checklists, drag and drop, drag and match, Google Maps, etc. Every single one of these widgets does exactly one thing, and all of them together, when added with the tools that are available in iBooks Author, allow you to create some cool interactive content that will engage your students. Also available in iBooks Author are several widgets. You could choose to include an interactive gallery, embed a video that you actually have saved on your computer. Perhaps these could be lessons that you have taught or short, brief tutorials on how to do something. There's a quiz widget that's available here, but please note that you are not sent electronically the answers to the quiz. You could take a PowerPoint and convert it to a Keynote and have that PowerPoint embedded right in there. You could create an interactive image where students tap on parts of an image and have additional features pop up. The 3D tool is useful if you have access to 360 virtual reality, which would allow kids to scroll through, for example, a museum and see it in all dimensions. A scrolling sidebar is useful if you're going to have a big chunk of text but you want it confined to one page. This allows students to actually scroll through it all on one page. And a popover, where kids tap on a hotspot and something big will come up with more information. To create one of these, simply click on the one that you want, put it where you want it, and change the titling information. You can also choose to have a caption underneath. You can use the inspector tool to go to layout and either remove the caption, remove the title, or create a background. With this particular widget being a gallery, you will drag and drop images that you want to include in here, and it will automatically populate the gallery with all the pictures that you have chosen. You can also use the inspector to give it a shadow on the page so that it pops out and looks three-dimensional. And you can choose to make it a little more noticeable by using gradient fill and changing the colors around to once again help it pop on the page. The third way you can create a widget is to use Tumult Hype to actually make it do something a little more complicated than you can do with Bookery and with the predefined widgets in iBooks Author. I'm not going to go into great detail on how to use Tumult Hype because their website already has a lot of these videos available. They also have a very active user forum where you can throw out exactly what it is that you're hoping to do, and users will weigh in with some of the tips and tricks on how to do it. This particular widget was created using some of Dr. Phil Gershmel from the Michigan Geographic Alliance's clickable atlases. And in this particular case, when I go into preview mode, you'll see that once the map loads, kids are actually able to add additional layers to the map or clear it as they study geography. The sky's really the limit with what you can do with Tumult Hype, and I highly recommend it. It's not a very expensive program in the App Store, and it's worth every penny. And finally, we're at step 3, how to get your widget up and running and into your iBooks Author MyOpenBook materials. If you create a widget on Bookery, you will have similar options to fill in. In this case, however, using just the scientific calculator, we're going to download this widget, choose what book it's going to go into, give it a name and change any settings. Static settings are things that you would have to download the book again to create an update for. Live settings are things that update automatically. I always like to save and preview before I download because it will then show you what this will look like in your actual book. And if everything's okay, you click on download. You'll probably get a security preference error. That's okay. And then you'll be able to take that widget, drag it into your book, and suddenly this book has an interactive calculator. When you finish creating your widget in Tumult Hype, you will go to File and Export as a dashboard or iBooks Author widget. This will allow you to do the same thing we did with the previous widget and drag and drop it directly into your iBook material.